and the All Indiana Podcast Network. This is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update.
Hello, I'm Jeremy Jenkins, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 Podcast for Tuesday, June 17th. We begin in Shelbyville, where a former school board member is now facing charges of sexual exploitation of a minor and possession of child pornography. Federal agents say David Finkel pretended to be an adult woman while he exchanged sexually explicit messages with minors. Investigators say Finkel also had explicit images and videos of children, keeping some of them in a hidden folder on his phone. In addition to serving on the school board, Finkel unsuccessfully ran for mayor of Shelbyville back in 2023. He was also a founder and director of the Strand Theater, which closed last month due to problems with its building. In a statement to News 8, Shelbyville Schools says David Finkel is no longer a board member and the process is underway to replace him. To a story ITmate has been following, video of an arrest in Indianapolis over the weekend is now at the center of an internal IMPD investigation. This after concerns that the officer involved may have gone too far. Cody Fisher reports.
This is the sidewalk where police arrested the man early Sunday morning. Now, IMPD Chief Bailey says the video circulating on social media does not tell the full story. This is the video posted to Facebook over the weekend and now has more than 32,000 views. It shows the officer push the man away. The man then swipes the officer's hand away. That's when the officer shoots him in the chest with non-lethal rounds before arresting him. IMPD says before this arrest, officers saw the man and someone else shouting at each other. The officers stepped in to stop a potential fight. Comments on the Facebook post from people in the community are calling the officers' actions wrong.
I recognize that when videos like this are put out with no context, no understanding of what's going on, that it can elicit emotions, and I recognize and accept those emotions that people have. I have to step aside from those emotions and look for the facts and the truth.
To get to the bottom of what happened, IMPD is having its Internal Affairs Division investigate the case to analyze whether or not the officers violated department policy. Chief Bailey says he won't decide if disciplinary action against the officer is called for until that investigation is complete.
I'm not afraid of accountability, but I'm also not afraid to defend my officers when they're right. I can't make a definitive answer on that without a thorough investigation. I have to make sure that the person we arrested rights are protected, that the officers' rights are protected, and that we have an investigation that uncovers the truth, that defends our officers if they're right, and holds them accountable if they're wrong.
The man, who's in his 20s, was arrested for disorderly conduct, battery on a public safety official, resisting law enforcement, and possession of marijuana. But official charges have not been filed yet. Chief Bailey says the officer involved in this incident is still working on the streets until the internal investigation is completed. Reporting downtown for ITmate, I'm Cody Fisher for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
In St. Joseph County, a state trooper is now facing theft charges. Online court records show that 39-year-old Andrew Cochis is facing charges of theft, obstruction of justice, and fraud. State police say in a press release that Cochis had been under investigation since last October, but police have given no other details on what led to his arrest. Police say Cochis has since been placed on administrative leave and say his initial court hearing is set for July 8th. A federal prosecutor says the man accused of killing a Democratic state lawmaker and wounding another in Minnesota meticulously planned the Saturday shootings. He then drove to the homes of two other lawmakers the night of the attacks. The acting U.S. attorney for Minnesota says Vance Belter appears to have spent months planning the shootings. Belter also had a list of other targets with dozens of names, including officials in at least 3 other states. Police say Belter disguised himself as a police officer before the shootings that killed Minnesota House Speaker Melissa Hortman and her husband. Belter faces both state and federal charges. Let's talk sports. The Pacers now face a must-win Game 6 of the NBA Finals when they are back home this Thursday. The Pacers fell to the Thunder 120-109 last night in Oklahoma City and trailed the series 3-2. Tyrese Halliburton aggravated a right calf injury in the first quarter, but he said after the game that if he can walk, he will play in Game 6. Westfield's Joey Chestnut will be back to defend the Mustard Yellow Championship belt he never actually lost. Yesterday, Chestnut posted on social media that he will return to this year's Nathan's Famous Hot Dog Eating Contest on the 4th of July. You may recall the 16-time champion was not allowed to compete at last year's Nathan's event because of a dispute with Major League Eating over his sponsorship deal with the plant-based food company Impossible Foods. When it comes to the weather, Storm Track 8 says we are in for a humid and wet day. Meteorologist Marcus Bailey has your News 8 Daily 8 forecast.
It is nice that we've kind of kicked out some of the rain. It was very gray and damp. Had a few good downpours to start off our morning hours. But now you've got kind of some hazy sunshine in spots. We're up to 77, southwest wind at 9. This is the number right here. Dew point is 70. That is tropical. Those are numbers that you kind of get when you're along the Gulf Coast sometimes around this time of year. Mid-70s is where we stand temperature-wise and continuing to climb here for the day today. Now, we still have some showers, and I think this is how a lot of the day is going to play out, all right? Showers up in east central Indiana around Delaware County, Madison County, Henry County. That's moving east. Got a few downpours there kind of entering into southern Greene. Here in the metro, we might have a few sprinkles here, and with the heating of the day, you're going to get a little of these pop-ups from time to time. Not going to rain the entire afternoon, but the opportunity is there between now and, I'll say, sunset. 78 at 1 o'clock, 82 at 5. Normal high for this time of year is typically around 83. And again, the humidity just stays miserable for the second half of the day. Our probabilities here, again, isolated through around sunset, which happens at around 9 o'clock. Once we lose the heating of the day, we lose that risk for rain. Tomorrow's a different story. Cold front zips through, and that's going to bring a line of potentially strong thunderstorms. We have a level 3 out of 5 risk for strong thunderstorms for your Wednesday. Coming up, full timetable of when these storms arrive in my Storm Track 8 forecast coming your way in just a few minutes.
To get a peek at Marcus Bailey's full forecast, just head over to wishtv.com, or you can download the Wish TV Storm Track 8 app. And don't forget to check out our Storm Track 8 weather blocks. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 podcast for Tuesday, June 17th. I'm Jeremy Jenkins for Wish TV and wishtv.com.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening. And be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.